Hey everybody, Duncan here. I want to take a second and I want to talk about this mindless zombie generation. But first, please subscribe to my channel, like my videos, comment in the box below, and hit that bell for notifications. So let's talk about the zombie generation and how it affects the rest of this country. So, I call this a zombie generation because our kids, our youth, and in fact much of our population is so programmed and tuned in to social media, to internet, cell phones, video games, televisions. So let me go over a few things. First and foremost, we have these kids. These kids are sold cell phones and they're targeted as possible customers. So suddenly these 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds are getting their first phones. They're being put on social media. Social media, as we all know, is ran by, Facebook is ran by Mark Zuckerberg, who is a known political liberal. And he does use Facebook to program people to believe a certain way. Then Google, who's owned by these same liberal individuals, these big money company people, they then take everything that these kids research and look up, and then they target them for advertisements. Then you tune in your locator. Suddenly they know where you're at all times. So these kids are taught never to take their faces out of the phone. Many of their best friends are people they'll never meet. So their social skills begin diminishing. Much of the things they think they know are things that people put inside of the internet. And not all of that is true. So these kids are being taught by the internet. They're being taught by Google. They're being babysit by PlayStation and Xbox. And much of their everyday lives is consumed around these devices. Now, when a child, or really anyone, consumes so much time into these devices that are literally draining the energy from you, but they're also programming our children to think a certain way, to act a certain way. Okay? These children become what's then plugged into what they call the 5G network. Okay, this means that suddenly these kids can be pumped full of information and used like antennas. They can literally program the kids to think, feel, and act the way they want. They can take them and have them sell, buy things they want, go places, think things that they want them to think. We see this specifically in Facebook, how they have censored many people with an opinion against the Democrats or the Republicans, or politically. If you have a correct, legitimate case to be made against the deep state Illuminatists who make Facebook and Google and all these cell phones and computers and internet, you get pretty much cut out of the equation. Our kids are susceptible to this. Our kids then they spend their whole days with their faces in this phone. Their classes, their teachers will all complain about how they can't get them away from their phones. They're all complaining about how this phone is now controlling not just the kids' lives, but everybody's life. So let's take this in consideration. I was talking to a student aide yesterday, and she was talking one of the biggest problems they have with the youth is they can't physically take the cell phones from them because there's a law claiming that it's private property. So here's a simple solution. You put a little strip above the classroom door that basically it enables the cell phone to turn off. You can't use the cell phone while it's in the room. Okay, there's no signal coming in or out. You won't get the internet inside that room. I feel like schools need to consider doing this. Parents need to be more diligent. There's no reason for a 12-year-old to have a cell phone. There's no reason for a 13-year-old to have a cell phone. Okay? You shouldn't even be considering cell phones until you're like 16. In my day and age, we knew who the worst troubled kids are. We knew who the drug dealers were because everybody had pagers. Now we've programmed our kids to keep their faces in these devices nonstop, so that when they walk around, they hit into poles, they fall off curbs, they get hit by buses, fall into trains. We get people who are programmed a certain way. Now they go out and riot because Mark Zuckerberg said that, Hillary Clinton should have been president. Okay, now because you get now that you get this internet who completely bash President Trump for basically being an American, now all of these people that are bought into social media, they're all force-fed this. And so whenever somebody like myself comes around and talks about how great President Trump is, suddenly I'm blackballed from Facebook. This is a perfect example of what they're doing. You programmed a certain way. They want you to feel and think and act a certain way. And if you don't, they'll cut you out of their little circle. So think smart, people. Think smart. When people talk about the deep state and the Illuminatists, they're talking about the big business. They're talking about the big businesses that are sending televisions in your home, computers in your home, cell phones in your hands, cell phones in your children's hands. When you're talking about how the government sees you, knows you, controls you, watches you, think about what's in your hand. They can have access to anything they need to know about you at any given moment. And that's a fact. Think smart. With that being said, I hope you liked the message. Like the video, comment in the box below, hit that bell for notifications, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We need to take more charge of our children's lives. We need to be the ones to raise our children and not let devices do it. And that's my message. Thank you. Peace. God bless. Duncan out.